You are now watching Zach Lesage PTCG. Let's get it! Yo, what's poppin' peeps? Welcome back. Today we're going to be covering over a deck that doesn't necessarily come from Battle Styles, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's not competing in our Battle Styles metagame. That deck is Centiskorch VMAX. This is a deck that a lot of players have seen a lot of success with, including myself. This is the deck that I played to the Players Cup 3. I was either 1 or 2 rounds away from advancing into the top 16. So I really like this deck. I know what I'm doing with this deck. A lot of players have seen a lot more success with this deck than I have, and it's still seeing success in this format. So the goal of this video is to show you what a proper Centiskorch VMAX list looks like after Battle Styles adds a couple inclusions, and then really playing some games to show you how this deck works. So hopefully that helps out everyone kind of get a little bit more in gear with this Battle Styles metagame there. The list is in the description below, so you can copy and paste that right into PTCGO. While you're watching through this video, maybe you want to play a couple games. That's totally cool by me. If you're missing any of the cards for this deck or any other deck, head over to PTCGOstore.com, plug in code ZLesage5 to save 5% on your next order of codes. While you're at it, hit that subscribe button. Totally be busted. Currently on our way to 3,000, and as I like to say, after that is only the moon. Beyond that, give this video a like, and let's jump right into this deck and see what's going on. So here we have the Centiskorch VMAX deck list, and for those of you who don't know, Centiskorch VMAX is the main focus of this deck. So for 2 energies, you can use G-Max Inferno, doing 40 plus 40 for each energy, and you attach one at the end of your turn. The one that you attach at your end of your turn does not count as the damage for G-Max Inferno, but it is a great way to accelerate energy into play. In order to get to that kind of stage, you have Volcanion, so this deck typically wants to go second, not first, second, so you could use Flare Starter, attaching a fire energy, but since you're going second, you could attach up to 3, doing a decent bit of damage with G-Max Inferno, getting that all set up. Of course, since we are playing fire, we want to make sure that we're able to use Welder allowing us to attach 2 fire energies and drawing up to 3 cards. So super helpful right there, just immediately, like, we are accelerating energies and we are doing large amount of damage. So what do the rest of the cards in this deck really bring to it? So Cramorant V gives you 2 options here. You could either set up with B-Catch, or you can use Spit Shot. I really like using Spit Shot because it's simply a Welder away, so Welder 2 energies and attach 1 for your turn, so you can snipe whichever Pokemon you want to knock out for the game. Most of the times you're going to be knocking out an opposing to Charizard-GX because it's 160 right there, but if you need to knock out something like a Crobat V, you could also go Galarian Zigzagoon with Scoop Up Nets to do extra damage, bringing you closer to the 180 or the 180 in general. You do need to watch out for Mew from Unbroken Bonds or the promo because that would block Spit Shot, so keep a vigilant eye out on what's going on. But this can win a game instead of having a boss's orders. It's really simple to just go Welder, win the game, checkmate your opponents. Crobat here, like the other few cards that we have to set up with Eldegoss and Charizard-GX, are really there to kind of get you to draw cards, get back a supporter, kind of the setup crew of your deck. Dark Asset, you can use Dark Asset after you use Dead Change, vice versa, allowing you to draw those extra cards. So usually the way that I decide between playing Crobat or Dedenne is deciding which one is more important at a time. Can I pitch my hands? Because that's one thing that I want to decide if Dedenne Change or Dead Change is appropriate enough, or is my hand thinned down enough where Dark Asset will draw me enough cards. You can play Crobat V through Power Plant, so do keep that in mind. Galarian Zigzagoon is our damage modifier, so maybe you're off by 10 damage with Flare Strike to knock out a Pikachu and Zekrom-GX, or maybe you need to hit a bench Pokemon for 180, or maybe you're just 1 damage or 2 damage away from hitting that Oko with G-Max Inferno. So whether you missed it or you're trying to aim for it in one single shot, Headbutt Tantrum can definitely get you there. Super cool asset to this deck, especially since we are playing a Scoop Up Net based engine. Centiskorch V does evolve into Centiskorch VMAX. Keep in mind that Radiating Heat can remove your opponent's energies, so it could be important in the ADP matchup or even the Eternatus matchup. Burning Train is also a way to get through things such as Zamazenta V, if that's ever something that you need to worry about. G-Max Inferno, main attack of the deck. Make sure you know the amount of numbers that you need to knock out certain Pokemon. Even if you need to write a sheet right beside you, that has been absolutely an asset for me. Just writing popular Pokemon I can knock out with G-Max Inferno, so I'm never wrong. I never need to double check. I could always look at my list, be like, yep, I have 4 energies there. That means that I can knock out this Bolton V for 200 damage instantly. So making sure that you know what's going on. Reshiram Charizard allows you to place some pressure on your opponent's Pokemon, being able to use Double Blaze GX out of nowhere, knocking out a 2 prize card Pokemon, such as Cramorant V or Bolton V, or maybe even a Zacian V. Flare Strike, you could follow that up and really chase down something with a Lysander, putting yourself with only 2 prize cards left. If they do damage this or not, and they don't one-shot it, you can use Outrage afterwards for a decent bit of damage. Volcanion, we've already went over for Flare Starter, but you can use High Heat Blast, and it's quite an efficient attack against Pokemon such as Decidueye, Zacian V, and other single prize card Pokemon like Jirachi. So keep in mind High Heat Blast, either going for the 2-shot, hitting with the Volcanion first, or finishing something off with a 1 prize card Pokemon. Eldegoss here is great because you could use Float Up if you really need to, but we're mainly using it for a Happy Match to get back a Welder or a Boss Orders. But since we are playing a Welder deck, that Float Up can be great, and you can utilize Happy Match over and over in a match. Not going to happen in too many normal matches, but it can see some success against Stall or Control. Dedenne GX, kind of very similar to the Crobat V, being able to loop things around where you got Dead Age Change. You might want to pitch your hand. Do you not want to pitch your hand? Use Crobats. Pretty simple. Sometimes you just need to get a fresh hand. Determine what you need resource-wise. The last Pokemon that we play in this deck is Jirachi with Stellar Wish. This allows us to get more access to our supporter cards, such as Welder or Quick Ball, making this inconsistent deck a little bit more consistent. Now, out of the new cards that we've added to this deck, we've only added 2. We've added an Escape Rope, which I was able to cut a switch out of this deck in order to be able to play. I think that's going to be a very strong theme after the release of Battle Styles. So it gives you kind of a half Great Catcher or a half boss. So maybe the active Pokemon's one that you can't knock out, but you can knock out all of their bench Pokemon. Escape Rope gives you that option, and I think it's going to be quite a strong option. Fan of Waves. So this deck does not play the Giratina from Unified Minds. Fan of Waves is a great way to just remove a Coating Metal energy, or just kind of setting your opponent back a turn. If worse comes to worse, I could see Fan of Waves being really good in a lot of circumstances, and I'm sure it will pop up. Remember, you can grab both of those cards with Jirachi. A lot of the cards look really similar, like the Pokemon Communications, the Quick Balls, things such as that. I mean, I think that this list could cut a Pokemon Communication for something else. Maybe you do want a second Fan of Waves, or maybe you want another Escape Rope or a Reset Stamp. That's really where you add your flavor. I just want to make sure this deck sets up for this video, because the biggest issue that I have with this deck is it does not set up as often as we want it to. That's why Centiskorch gets a bad rep, because Welder decks are Hop that are Fire type. So you're attaching energies, but you're still only drawing 3 cards, and that's what we're basing this whole deck around. So that's really what we got going on there. The only other card that I really think is worth mentioning is Great Catcher, as Dedenne GX is very popular, along with a handful of other things such as Oricorio GX. This does give you an option to play a Welder and then play another card during your turn. So I think it could all be huge. If you have any questions about any other particular cards, let me know in the comments below. Beyond that, let's jump into some games, see exactly what's going on here. So playing against my buddy Josh, and Josh flipped the coin flip. They're deciding who they want to go first. He decided to go first. And it looks like we finally have a decent hand here. So I'm going to start off with Jirachi. I mean, this hand's not amazing, but I do have access to Giant Hearth. I do have access to Stellar Wish. And Josh did mulligan, so it should be huge here. Just a decent turn. The goal is going to be getting out Volcanion, or to be attacking, knocking something out with Reshiram Charizard-GX. So we got another Fire Energy, not necessarily a card that I'm looking for. And he started with Mewtwo Mew. I mean, that's fine. That's the same thing as like starting with an ADP. Has 10 less HP. I don't think that's going to be relevant, but it could be. In a sense where it could be where we're short, we can do 240 and then triple Zigzagoon it or something like that. The numbers work out a little bit better, but I mean, it's probably easier just to attach an extra energy at that point. So there's the ADP. I think Josh is probably going to pitch it. In efforts, maybe we're going to see a Dedenne go down to try to pitch his hand away to get a Zacian, or maybe he just naturally has the Zacian. That'd be huge. There's the Water Energy. We're going to have to see exactly what's going on here. I think we're going to see a Dedenne if I ever had a hunch, but I could be wrong. We'll have to see what's up. Yeah, there's the Dedenne. Sucks to lose double metal saucers, but literally it sucks to not draw 3 cards on your first turn with Intrepid Sword. So sometimes you gotta go with your gut and try to go for the Zacian. So let's see what we could do here. Getting a Scoop Up Net's fine, that's one of the cards that we need. The biggest issue is we will not get everything that we want this turn. So let's go Giant Hearth. I'm gonna pitch away one of these cards. Grabbing a couple fires. And if we can get a Quick Ball, I'll go for a Volcanion, power up a Reshiram. So let's go Stellar Wish. Actually, you wanna know what? The Stellar Wish works here because I can actually just attack with the Reshiram this turn. That sounds so much better. So sometimes you're not necessarily a Centiskorch deck, sometimes you're a Welder Toolbox deck. Let's go Welder right here. Couple energies. I'm going to Scoop Up Net the Jirachi up active. The reason why I'm not playing Switch is because I usually go Scoop Up Net on the Pokemon that can Scoop Up Net and Switch on the Pokemon that do not have that. I think we're going to go for 200 damage here. Nothing else that I really want to do. I don't necessarily want to pitch this hands. We have access to Switch anyways. I'm not... Maybe next turn I'll draw a Pokemon Communication. We'll have to see what's up. We're 1 energy away from just being able to get the knockout with Flare Strike, which I think is certainly going to be a strong one. And Josh looks like he's going to be using Altered Creation this turn. So this is what I was talking about. Sometimes you could just use Reshiram to run away with games, especially in a case here where we did not get a Volcanion. We could have got a Quick Ball, but that would have just got a Volcanion. So it's better just to kind of get the attack off. So our game plan is to really knock out this Mew GX next turn and really strand Josh without energies. And I think that's going to be probably one of the biggest things that we have going on here. So there's Crobat. I think Crobat's going to be fine. We'll have to see exactly. It doesn't necessarily matter at this point. Josh is really looking for ways to accelerate energies into play. And as long as we have an energy, we're able to get the knockout with the Double Blaze. So I'm actually going to go ahead here and switch right away. I don't know if there's anything that I necessarily want to do. I don't know if I want to use Giant Hearth yet or anything like that. I am going to go for Stellar Wish first. Considering there's a Scoop Up Net, I might as well just go for it again. I don't think there's really much that I'm looking for. So I'm going to go Scoop Up Net the Jirachi. I'm going to re-roll back into the Jirachi by going Switch. That is going to be our last Scoop Up Net, so I am going to go for it. It's better to go Stellar Wish before you play something like a Dedenne GX. And that's only if you have a Scoop Up Net or a Switch. If you do not have those, it's better to use it afterwards. Quick tip there. So let's use Stellar Wish, see what we can get here. We did get a great catcher. I don't know if I really want to grab anything here. I don't really want to grab a Welder either. So I'm just going to go ahead here and rip that. So nothing off our Jirachis. Kind of sucks, but we did thin our deck out a little bit. Let's go ahead here and Scoop Up Net this Jirachi. Putting this back down, I am going to go Fire Crystal. Grabbing the Fire Energy back. I don't want to go with Giant Hearth yet. I'll figure that out afterwards. There's my energy, so we will be able to get the knockout with Flare Strike. Now, do I want to use Zigzagoon for the rest of the game is going to be my question. We've already used 3 Scoop Up Nets, so I think my answer is going to be no. And at this point, I do want to put Dedenne GX down. As much as it's a liability, I do want to get something else built up, like another Centiskorch VMAX, if that's a possibility. So here we didn't necessarily get much. But I can go ahead here and like Giant Hearth away, let's say Fire Energy. I'm just going to Welder on Volcanion because at least Volcanion can knock at a Zacian. I think that sounds completely fine. So we're going to attach those 2 energies. Maybe I can just Centiskorch V this turn. That might be nice. I am going to pitch away this Jirachi. Grabbing a Centiskorch V out. Putting that down so next turn it can evolve. And I have the Giant Hearth and the Welder. So I should be pretty set to win this game, even if I need to retreat the Reshiram and Charizard next turn. I do got to watch out for Mawile. So considering my bench is not full, I am going to put Crobat down. It might be a little bit wasteful to play it now, but I'd rather play it instead of not having the opportunity to. Let's go for the Flare Strike on this Pokemon in the active, and we're going to draw 3 prize cards on our second turn of the game. So I think we're in a spot where if Josh attacks us with a Zacian, we probably just win the game. because we could follow that back up with either a Volcanion or a Centiskorch V. Sure, he did get the Altered Creation GX off, but the only way that I see that a knockout's going to happen is going to be with some kind of Mawile play, knocking out something on my bench, like a Crobat or a Dedenne, and I think that would require a lot of efforts, or Josh is going to have to find double Metal Saucer. Either way, he's going to have to find at least one, and that's going to be the biggest thing. So he already attached for his turn. It seems to me like he's looking for a Metal Saucer. There's a Metal Saucer. Is he going to find the other one? Because those are the last Metal Saucers of the game. There's only one more after that. No Turbo Patch or anything is really being played in ADP right now. And it's a favorable matchup. This is one of the reasons why Centiskorch VMAX is such a good deck. It holds a favorable matchup against our current best deck in format, and that is ADP Zacian. It also does well against LucMetal. It does well against a lot of random decks. So it does have a decent matchup spread. Of course, you got to deal with some inconsistency issues. And I mean, I'm sure they're going to come up in this video. I can almost taste it. But we'll have to see exactly how it goes. So the issue with the Chaotic Swell here is we're not going to be able to use our Giant Hearth to grab something. It's going to be the biggest issue. So let's see exactly what goes on here. We're not getting knocked out this turn. That's completely fine. We did get... Oh, this is going to be a really good turn. We're just going to go switch here on the Jirachi. So switching there first. I am going to go Stellar Wish first to see what I want to get. There's only one fire in my discard pile. So I'm going to grab a Giant Hearth because after I bump this Chaotic Swell, I can totally just have another Giant Hearth for next turn. Let's bring this up. I'm going to scoop up net the Jirachi up. And then I'm going to knock it out with the Volcanion to do 220 damage. So I think we're in a really good spot here. Let's evolve this. And there's the 220 damage. So not only do I not have a Pokemon that's worth 4 prize cards in the active position due to Altered Creation, I have just drawn my 4th and 5th prize card on the second or on my 3rd turn of the game. So honestly, like a really powerful start here. And it just comes down to the point where Josh can only go into defensive mode. And that's fine. I think we're in pretty good spots. The fact that he brought up the Centiskorch VMAX means that we can go Giant Hearth, grab 2 energies, welder 3 energies onto the Centiskorch VMAX. So we could either hit for 160 against a Dedenne GX, we could hit against a knockout on the Zacian V, or we're going to be 20 damage short of knocking out the Crobat, but we could just retreat and hit into the hit with Reshiram and Charizard-GX. So as long as he does not put down an ADP or anything else like that, we have checkmate on board. So I think it's going to be a retreat, maybe into the Dedenne GX at this point. Probably would have brought up Crobat V or the Pokemon with the air balloon, but at this point it doesn't really matter. So we should just be good here. Just double checking my math, 3 energies is 120 plus the Gmax Centinferno. So let's go ahead here and use Giant Hearth. There are no special energies in my opponent's deck, so Fan of Waves is going to be the first to go. Couple energies. Yeah, and this game's just been super simple. Really, we got set up well, and this is how the matchup goes, regardless of what your opponent does. So we're going to give the well played, and we're going to attack for Gmax Centinferno for the knockouts. So huge quick game, but we certainly take those. So here I'm playing against my buddy Josh at a Discord, and he's calling the coin flip. We won the coin flip. So do we want to go first? No, we want to go second with this deck, and that's something that Centiskorch typically wants to do. Bit of an awkward hand, and this is what I'm talking about when it comes down to an awkward hand. Centiskorch, I don't know what it is. It seems to draw into some awkwardness. We'll have to see if we're able to draw out of this, but for me, it seems like it's going to be a pretty rough one. I think I'm looking for a quick ball. If there's ever a way that I'd be looking for something, but this is typically a game that I know I'm not going to last too long in, so it's really not worthwhile to scoop at this point, but it can be absolutely terrible. So there's the Metal Energy, and he's just going to go pass. So we top deck a Giant Hearth, but I don't necessarily think it's going to help us out too much. I'm going to pitch a fire energy away, grab a couple fires, and maybe I can grab something next turn. I think next turn is probably about the last turn that I could wait in this game. So, going to give the Heartbreak emote. We'll have to see exactly what could happen. But this is a perfect example of a real kind of hands. And I think we're going to absolutely just get destroyed here. Because Josh is able to go Altered Creation GX, and then next turn be able to hit for 180. So not only are we trying to get set up, we're now dodging Ultimate Ray, which means that putting the Dene GX down and Crobat down is honestly going to be such a big issue. So the biggest issue against playing against a deck like ADP is that the wiggle room is just not there. And I think Josh is just trying to get a win con in play. I don't know if I put the Zacian Vs down, if it even matters, but realistically, my hand's just so poor. It's just tough with Escape Rope being out there. So let's see what we can top deck, fingers crossed. We got a Zigzagoon, but I don't think the Zigzagoon's going to be enough in this case because Josh is able to draw 3 prize cards, and we won't have anything set up. I could stall for a turn with Boss's Orders, but I'm not going to waste either of our time, and I'm just going to concede this game. So here we are playing against my buddy Brandon from Discord. Shout out to him for playing this game. So we won the coin flip. Do we want to go first? Nah, we don't want to go first. We want to go second with this deck. In most cases, we'll see what Brandon's throwing at us. We have a great start here with Jirachi, Giant, Hearth, everything. So, I mean, usually we just want to start with Jirachi. Sometimes if you don't find a switching card, you want to start with Hard Volk, if that's an option. But I think here we're in a pretty good spot where I could even go Pokemon Communication into something else. Okay, so it looks like we're probably playing against LucMetal or maybe Corviknight or something. And of course, we'd like to draw a card. That's going to be an awesome card to draw. So they started with Zam. Zam would be really weak against a Reshiram and Charizard-GX. And there's a LucMetal. That's completely fine. We do have the Fan of Waves, so we do want to check our deck for that. And the fact that we have Giant Hearth out means that we can just kind of stop that power plant if necessary. So, I mean, I'm feeling pretty good about our options here. Looks like a pretty fast start here for Brandon, though. Truly looking pretty good. So we did get a Welder. I think at this point, I'm probably just going to go ahead and Welder onto the Reshiram and try to get that out. So let's go Giant Hearth. I'm actually just going to pitch away the fire energy here. Going for double fire. Now, we do want to check through our prize cards, see what is available. There's an Escape Rope. We do have the Fan of Waves. So nothing like crazy prize so far. We do have like a Welder prize. We do have a couple energies prize. Nothing crazy. I mean, pretty fair disbursement of prize cards. So let's go ahead here and power up this Reshiram because Reshiram is able to go through Dauntless Shields. So we're going to start off pretty strong, and I'm fine if we lose our energies the next turn as well. So now that we have our switch in our hands, I think it's fine to just go forward with a Stellar Wish. And Fire Crystal seems very good if you ask me. So let's go attach the energy for the turn. I don't see any reason to put anything else down except the Centiskorch V. Let's go ahead here, switch, and we will take our 2 prize cards immediately. Let's go Double Blaze. 2 prize cards on our first turn, absolutely huge. And we got our Centiskorch down. So I think Brandon, if he has the energy, he's going to follow it up with a Full Metal Wall GX. That is a Coating Metal energy. So we do have to be careful of that. But I think we're in a pretty good spot where I could just get a knockout with maybe a Centiskorch VMAX. There are the other prize cards Pokemon put out. So we'll have to see how this goes for him. If he does not get it out, I might just chase down. There's a Lily's Doll. Is he going to go for the Full Metal Wall for only the 1 energy? We'll have to see what he got available in his hand. Because the one thing about Intrepid Sword... Oh, he's just going for the Intrepid Sword. Crazy. So we can go Boss and just KO this. I think that sounds like a really good option. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just do that. I don't see any issues with that at all. So let's bring that up. There's the 1 energy in there. I don't necessarily know if we're going to get to a point where Reset Stamp's going to be very good. Let's grab a couple fire energies. Attach the fire energy there. And I am going to go Pokemon Communication away this Jirachi because I can get out my Scorch VMAX. So we're all set up with the Scorch VMAX to basically knock at the LucMetal. And we don't need too much once they get out, once they get off their Full Metal Wall GX. We could even just knock it out normally, but we would like to get a Fan of Waves. So let's go ahead here and roll with the Flare Strike. And I mean, if he doesn't get it next turn, I'm pretty sure we're just going to win the game somehow. The Welder's amazing as long as we don't get Marnied, but I'm very happy with that card right now. The fact that he's sending up the Lily's Pokédoll tells me that he does not necessarily have it right now. Or he's still thinking about what's the best move. Because you don't necessarily want to put Lily's Pokédoll at the bottom of your deck, especially when your opponent has 2 prize cards left on their second turn of the game. And this is really where, like, when the deck's working, you're not losing. The Zacian might be a bit of an oversight there. Not sure how I feel about that. Because it just means that there's an easier Pokemon for me to knock out than a LucMetal. But it does have the Coating Metal energy, so that's fine. We did get a Garbage Hand off that Marnie. So we're going to kind of wait out here, bide out, see exactly what's good. Probably just going to retreat this into a Jirachi and attach an energy for my turn to the Centiskorch. So he's not getting off that LucMetal. That's fine with me. I'm going to go ahead here and probably just pitch a Fire Energy. I'm fine to have a few in my discard pile. Let's see what we can get going on here. Let's retreat into the Jirachi. Let's go Stellar Wish, see what's up. And I am going to go for Pokemon Communication. That Fan of Waves is so tempting. But we'll have to see how it goes for next turn. So I'm going to go Pokemon Communication. I don't see the Zigzagoon being that great. I'd rather have that back into the deck, though. And let's go ahead here and grab an Eldegoss, because I think Eldegoss is going to be great so we could power up with Welder. Can't grab Boss Orders because we're not going to do too much with it. So let's go Welder here onto this Pokemon. Feeling pretty good about what we have going on for next turn. I am just going to split my energies, though, in case I do need to get a Flare Strike off at any given point. So probably not going to do too much here. Feeling pretty good about this hand. I'm just going to pass. Don't do too much when you're in a winning position, because that's how you could throw games. I don't need to waste the resources here. And I mean, if he just keeps on going with Lily's Pokédoll, at some point, he's going to have to send up some kind of Pokemon. So cards that I'm worried about are going to be a Boss's Orders. Boss's Orders can definitely be huge, especially against the Centiskorch VMAX. That would take away my 2 energies there, but I mean, it's not taking away 4 energies on a Reshiram. So I could always follow that back with an attack. If we see a Marnie, a Marnie would probably hurt us a little bit more. So there's an Intrepid Sword. I'm cool with that. See what we can get going on here. I'm not worried about either one of these cards. So we'll have to see what exactly can go on. So let's go Quick Ball this way. I'm going to grab a Dedenne GX and probably just a Crobat as well, because there's a chance I win this game. So let's go Dedenne GX first. Quick Ball away. I'm going to Quick Ball away the Volcanion for a Crobat. So the correct order of operations here is going to be using Crobat first to see what we could draw into, because if we get Fan of Waves Great Catcher, we just win the game. If we find Fan of Waves in general, we probably just win the game. Let's see what we can get with the Giant Hearth here. There's another energy there. So let's go ahead, welder this onto... I'm probably going to welder onto this Pokemon. That makes a lot of sense there. So at this point, do I want to do anything? Let's see what Stellar Wish brings. I think Fire Crystal is going to be quite strong if you ask me, because I could just start bringing things up. Let's go Fire Crystal, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to attach another energy to this Pokemon right here. And no matter what, next turn, I'm able to get a knockout on one of these Pokemon. That is, of course, if I find the Fan of Waves. So I'm a vibe this turn, but next turn I do have access to Jirachi. I do have access to Boss Orders. I do have access to Dedenne GX. Feeling pretty good about this one. So there's the energy going on to, was that the Zacian, I believe? So I think he's just getting set up for when he decides to make a move. Because LucMetal's going to just bide time and wait to see what I have available. Maybe not a lot of Centiskorch decks play the Fan of Waves. Okay, that Marnie certainly hurts because we had a lot of nice cards, but I'm glad I used Fire Crystal to get a couple Fire Energies back in the deck for Giant Hearth purposes. The Scoop Up Net switch is going to be great because it gives us a good opportunity to get some cards off of Jirachi. If we find Fan of Waves, we probably just win the game. There's another Intrepid Sword. Let's see what we can get off the top of our deck. So we did get a Fire Crystal. The Fire Crystal can be strong, possibly. So let's go ahead here, go Stellar Wish first. There's a Pokemon Communication. I am going to go Scoop Up Net here onto the Jirachi. I am going to go Fire Crystal because I don't necessarily think I need too many of the other energies. And at this point, I'm going to start applying pressure. I don't think I need too much going on here, but I could be wrong. I'm going to keep the Welder in my hand, attach an energy for my turn, and let's go for Outrage. So Outrage is enough to knock out the Lily's Pokédoll. I kind of feel like I'm in a position where I can kind of draw a card if I need to with Welder. If my opponent Marnies me, I'm in a really good spot. If I just top deck a game-winning card like a Fan of Waves, I just win the game. So I think I'm in a really good spot here to just kind of pull this game out if I really need to. The Metal Goggles might be a little bit much, but we'll have to see. If he does decide to attack with Brave Blade, we do also have Outrage as an option. But we're getting pretty close to just being able to knock out things without weakness. This Pokemon technically has 250 HP right now. There's no GX attack, so I'm pretty close right now with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 200. Just 2 energies wins the game here. But I think we're going to see the LucMetal kind of come down. The LucMetal would have 290, so I'd have to be able to do something that like has 300. Okay, so there's my energies gone. That has about 290. And yeah, we're going to be able to steal the game. So Fan of Waves, rip that up. Even if it wasn't the top deck, we're all good here. So let's go switch. And we are able to take this game. Very favorable matchup, but the Fan of Waves does make it that much easier. Huge amount of damage, 370 out of nowhere. So sometimes you just gotta wait on games and they will be handed to you. Not that it's Brandon's fault. I think he played exceptionally well this game. And there we have it. Those were some exceptional games with Centiskorch. I mean, sure, you're going to dead draw every once in a while, and that's why I like playing this deck more in best of 3, because at least one of those games you're going to be going second, and I think this deck still really has what it takes. We saw how Fan of Waves can be huge against Coating Metal Energy, how the deck is still viable against 2 of the top decks in the format. Sure, there's a weakness factor, but again, a lot of them do play Coating Metal Energies, so it's really not that big of a factor anymore. I think Centiskorch is just good, sure, slightly inconsistent, but it is one of the top decks in the format. Huge shout out to both Brandon and Josh for playing those games against me. And if you ever want to play games against me, you can always check out the Discord link below, add yourself in there. And I mean, I'm usually searching for games. I'll add everyone. I'm like Maddie Tate out there adding everyone, right? So hopefully you like this video. Let me know if you have any constructive comments or anything that you want to talk about in the comments below. And again, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that subscribe button. That being said, I gotta go edit this video, and I hope to see you back more for some more great content. Have yourself a great one, and peace out. I want to give a huge shout out to our channel members for the Zac Lesage PTCG community. Not only do these members watch all my content and support me as a content creator, they've went the next step and started to financially support me, which is absolutely crazy to me. So shout out to Ali Plays Pokemon, Xenon TCG, Smart TCG, Slavin Tizik, Joshua Sutherland, Justin C, The Home Junkie, Samuel Stapowski, Yoshi3483, Anonymous, Jake R, It's Lido26, Jake Mall, Tilted AF, and Patrick Colding for really helping me out. I totally appreciate that everyone here is digging the content more than I ever expected. And I mean, if you've ever thought of becoming a YouTube channel member, it does cost money. So if you can't afford it, that's completely fine. It's one of those things where you can get access to my deck lists in Discord that I upload as often as I create them. you get access to early videos sometimes, you get access to coaching. There's a lot of really cool things that I offer my channel members, and I really appreciate everyone who's put in extra effort. Thank you so much for watching and supporting the channel. If you haven't already, it'd mean the world to me if you could subscribe to help support me as a content creator. Thanks again, and have yourself a great one.